This week, we're going to try and focus on purpose because that's how all of this got started, was me looking for my purpose. And I have two quotes today, both from men. I have other quotes from women, but these two were perfect to begin the week. The first quote is from the Buddha. Your purpose in life is to find your purpose and give your whole heart and soul to it. And from Deepak Chopra, the purpose of life is the expansion of happiness. Now, I don't follow Deepak Chopra, and sometimes I think he's more about making money as much as helping people become enlightened, but he does help many people. And that quote was perfect for what I am trying to do. And that is to help expand happiness. And as I've said before in earlier chats, it took me almost a whole year to realize my purpose, my passion is to help women develop and preserve happiness. And once you have happiness, you want to promote harmony in your family, in your community, in the world. And once you are happy and living harmoniously, you want to practice compassion for all of the sentient beings who are suffering, people who are suffering, animals who are suffering, plants and rivers who are suffering. You know, some people question whether plants feel, but I think they do because they live. And even the water is living, and the earth is living. Everything that lives, as far as I'm concerned, has feelings. And we should want to protect those feelings of the earth. Everything we need to survive as human beings comes from the earth. Our food, the plants that make our clothes, the minerals that create all of this technology, it all comes from the earth in one form or another. And our bodies are 80 to 90% water. We need water and air to survive. So whether and however people might want to argue and debate who's the cause of climate change or pollution, it's suicidal not to care for the earth and the water and the air. So being happy helps me to be aware of these things. I'm not turned into my own self because I'm happy. So I'm aware of the world around me and the earth and the animals and the water and the plants, and know we all need each other and we need to take care of each other. So my purpose here during these chats is to share what I know about being happy and living harmoniously and practicing compassion. And my ultimate goal is to create a community of women dedicated to this. And tomorrow I want to get into more detail of why I use the words preserve happiness, promote harmony, and practice compassion. Because I'm sure some people might say, what do you mean preserve happiness? Well, I'll say right now, preserve happiness because happiness is a path, and it's a lifelong path. And it's a path very easy to get detoured from, to lose it. I mean, we've all gone through those things when we've been elated and happy, or our life has been going just so well, and then something happens and we're shattered. We lose a job. Our house burns down. Our house is destroyed in a hurricane. Someone we love love dies, a pet dies, we're in an accident, we get sick, and all that happiness we had just disappears because we really weren't happy deep inside. We had not preserved our happiness. And believe me, I've known those times of feeling really let down, disappointed. I've had a lot of losses, especially in terms of work. And I've had people I love die, my mother, my father's, friends. But I've been fortunate to receive guidance in many ways to help me stay afloat and keep returning and finding happiness in all the ways it can be found and nurtured and preserved. And one of those ways, as I have mentioned before, is spending time in solitude and silence, getting grounded in that space that knows all of this material things, all these things, and all the people around us. We're all here for such a brief time. But there's something beyond the material that exists forever. When I was a little girl, living in Panama City, Florida, in a small wooden house that surely would have been wiped out in the recent hurricane, it was a shotgun house. If you don't know what a shotgun house is, it's a house where you enter the front door, and if you had a shotgun, you could shoot straight out the back door. And this was when Panama City was segregated, and this was a Black neighborhood, and there were these little wooden houses, different pastel colors around the edge of the block, and then we all shared this big backyard. But one day I was at home alone, and this thought came to me. I always was, and I always will be. Now, I was a very serious Catholic little girl, and the Catholic Church taught us that only God always was and always will be. And so I didn't tell anybody about this thought, but I did write it in my journal, and it always stayed with me. And then when I became a Buddhist, I found out that our consciousness is endless. Our consciousness unites us to the energy that has no beginning and has no end. If you're Christian, Jesus said, you're all sons of God. So we all are here with a divine and special purpose. Thank you for joining, Shirley. It's always a pleasure to see someone listening. And we're talking about purpose today. And that's going to be the theme for this week. And I'm talking a little bit about how I found my purpose in helping people find happiness, preserve happiness, promote harmony, and practice compassion. And this group, the purpose of this group is to be a catalyst for building a community. And I call it Loving a Life That is Golden. I've told this story before, but different people don't hear it. When I heard that song one day when I was going to the dentist, and it brought back a lot of happy feelings. And I thought that's the perfect name for a group. Because loving a life that is golden is a life filled with happiness and harmony and practicing compassion and doing good and sharing experiences and information and techniques. And that's the goal for this community. And slowly but surely, we're building up to sharing all of those bits of information and inspiration. Now, I aim to keep these short, and looks like we're coming to an end. Just want to say again, this week, the theme is purpose. And as the Buddha said, we're here in life to find our purpose and pursue it with passion and dedicate ourselves to it. And as Deepak Chopra said, the purpose of life is the expansion of happiness. So this is what we will do here in Loving a Life That is Golden Group and in the community surrounding and being involved with Vibrant Velvet Voice. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you, Shirley Marston, for dropping by. Do you have any questions? With no questions, it's time to say thank you and good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are in the world.